super cold. Imagine that, Oklahoma, we went from 110 degrees to about 55 in 2.5 hours. But because it's super cold, this is the first day we can actually make some chili. So I don't know about you, but I don't down chili when it's 110 degrees out, but I do down it when it's in the 50s. So we're gonna make some quick chili. We're using the Hasty Bake the Hasty Bake basting pan behind me on a Gourmet Pro. This is gonna be a real quick chili. We kind of call this the not quite from scratch chili, if you will, because we're using some really good chili seasoning prepackaged. We got some meat, we got some peppers, we got all the good stuff you wanna put in there. We even got some whiskey. It's gonna be great. So to get started, we're gonna be putting in this basting pan. We got a nice fire going. It's probably about 350 degrees. So kind of a nice roaring boil temperature because we wanna get this stuff browned up first. Just gonna use some basic olive oil, throwing it in the basting pan. Just enough to kind of get that lubricated up for us to throw our onions in. So this is a whole white onion that we've chopped. We're gonna throw that in there. Let that start to saute. One of the reasons I really enjoy making chili like this is it's super easy. I love doing chili where I'm grinding down peppers and making pepper paste, and it takes a whole afternoon if it's really cold on a weekend. But on a weeknight, when you get home from work and you're a little tired, it's real nice to be able to throw all this stuff in the basting pan, have a chili in about 20 or 25 minutes. It's got a good smoky flavor to it because it's cooked inside your Hasty Bake. It's gonna work real good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and close that down. Kind of acts as like putting a lid on a skillet. We're gonna keep some of that smoke in. We're actually gonna infuse some of that smoke into the chili as well, especially when we get the meat in there. So it's nice to be able to shut that down. It also keeps our temp hovering around 300 to 350 rather than letting it shoot up to like 400 or 500 degrees like it would if you just left the lid open. So gonna finish browning these onions. When you brown onions ahead of time, the purpose is not just to get them soft. It starts releasing all the sugars that's inside of them and caramelizes, which gives the onions a completely different flavor. If you've ever had caramelized onions on a griddle, they taste different than raw onion. We're trying to get that flavor infused into this chili, so it's not just that stark vinegary bite of white onion, but you get that nice, soft, buttery caramelization. So today we're using, how many pounds is this? It's about 2 pounds of 80/20 ground beef. Now this is ground chuck. You can use any kind of ground beef you like. For chili, I like to have a little bit fattier blend. If you want to use the 93.7, you can. If you want to throw some pork sausage in, you can. We're just going to go ahead and throw this ground beef in. Go ahead and start breaking it up. Doesn't cook when it's all together, so you want to break it up so you can start breaking it down and get it all browned up. Now, we're not going to be overly concerned with seasoning this. Normally, you know me, I like to season everything as it goes in. But this chili season we're using today, which is Old Hamet's chili seasoning pack. We sell them in a big pack that you can make, probably 5 or 6 courses out of, or just a single pack. I love these. I also love taking these with me when I'm camping or something like that because one and done, you don't have to try to save something for later. This has got all the flavor you need in it. So as this beef browns, we're gonna go ahead and throw some liquid in there, and then we will get the chili seasoning mixed in with it, and it's gonna go ahead and season all that meat for us without over seasoning or over salting our chili. I want to get it until this is about, I'd say 75 or 80% brown. So I don't want it completely cooked all the way through because it's going to braise in the chili liquid. But I do want to go ahead and get the browning started on it. So I'm not just cooking raw beef. I actually get some of that caramelization of the onion. Make sure you stir it up and mix the onion in with it so all those flavors start melding. All right, so our ground beef is just about browned here, right about where I want it, about 75% of the way. Again, shutting down that lid keeps your fire temp from climbing away on you, and it does get some really good smoke in there. When I built this fire, it's in the smoke position right now. We'll raise it up to the bake position if we need a little bit more heat after we get the liquid in it. But it is in the smoke position. I got about half the firebox filled, and I threw in a bunch of chunks of wood. I'm using pecan wood today. Pear wood is also another great wood that you can throw in. Real light smoke flavor, but I love putting some wood in there because every time you shut down the lid, you're gonna go ahead and get some smoke in there. The one last thing I'm gonna throw in before we do our liquid ingredients is this right here is chili con carne. You can get this at almost any grocery store. A good mix of some tomato paste, some great seasonings, and some extra meat. It's in the kind of the refrigerated section where you get your cream cheese or something like that at your local grocery store. I like using chili con carne in chili. I like using it in queso dips and things like that. Some people use it as their actual chili base. They'll mix some broth or something with it and use it for chili dogs or something like that. So It's very versatile, but I do like throwing it in and getting it mixed up, but it really activates when you start putting some liquid in it. So it's got some oil right now, but the next thing we're gonna throw in, and remember, keep in mind, we're going easy here, is just some Rotel, diced tomatoes and green chilies. Nothing too crazy about it, but it does give us some great moisture. There's a lot of water content in those tomatoes. So that starts to get the liquid base here forming. It'll start to activate that chili con carne. At this point, you could put some broth in there if you had some broth handy. If you don't have broth, we're gonna go a little bit easier, a little bit more redneck. We're doing some Coors Light. So toss that in there again. We just want some liquid base to get this thing to start braising. One for the owner. Gotta love that. Now that we got a liquid base, all my seasonings have something to adhere to. So I take this old Hammett package chili seasoning. We sell these at the grill store. It's a local Oklahoma thing, I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is, Pulpa. So this is a great thing to use. You find other chili seasonings, other brands are great too, but man, we love this around here. So we go ahead and open this one and done package and just give it a sprinkle. I've used 1,000 chili seasonings over the years, and this is by far my favorite one. Now you're gonna see that beautiful color start to take shape. Start mixing this in. This is where all your meat starts to really get its flavor. It's from that seasoning. If we were to hit it with a different seasoning when it was in the pan first, probably gonna end up over seasoning it. Got a couple more things we gotta put in this thing. One of them is gonna be chipotle sauce. Now, again, like I said, if I had all the time in the world on a weekend, I'm gonna be rehydrating dried chilies. I'm gonna be blending them and roasting them and the whole thing. But when I don't have time to do that, in the Mexican section of your local grocery store, you can find chipotle sauce. It's basically the same thing as chipotle peppers and adobo sauce, but it's been all blended up so you don't have to go in there and dice them up yourself. So I'm gonna toss that in here because I wanna start getting this warmed up, and I wanna let it cook off just a little bit of that heat because this stuff can have a pretty good kick to it. So don't mace yourself with it. It's not overly spicy, but it definitely has some good spice to it. The good thing is they come in small cans, so I'm gonna start off with one can. When we try this chili in a little bit, if it's not hot enough, I can always throw another can in there. The other thing I wanna get in there before this thing is done and it has time to burn some stuff off, I'm gonna throw some whiskey in there. Yes, we use Coors Light. Yes, we use whiskey. Yes, I might be a lush, but I can't complain. It's gonna taste real good. So I just do probably about a 1/4 cup, maybe a little less of whiskey and get that going in there. It's gonna give a nice rounded out flavor, a nice woody flavor. And if you got a good bottle around, it'll warm you up too because it's cold today. Now I know what you're asking me, are you gonna throw beans in this chili? And I'm telling you right now, we're in Oklahoma, so I did get some chili beans. So what you're gonna do is go ahead and open this can of chili beans right here, and you're gonna take it and you're gonna dump it in a pot because if you put beans in your chili, you're going to hell. So that right there is for all the people who are weird and wrong and want to put beans in their chili. We'll put that over to the side, and then it's for profiling purposes. Once you get your chili up on the counter and people start dishing up, the people that reach for the beans, you know to never invite them over to the house again. Stirring up, get those beans going, kind of bring them over to the side. That's the beautiful thing about the basting pan in the Gourmet or in the Legacy. It fits all the full-size models. And we have smaller basting pans too that fit the Continentals and the Suburbans, so you guys aren't left out. But you do have the ability to do some other fun stuff inside the grill while you're doing this. Sometimes I'll smoke meatballs, so I'll take like venison meatballs and I'll smoke them and I'll put them on the top rack and I'll let them drip down into the chili. And then when they're fully smoked, I'll break them up and I'll throw them down into the chili. You can warm up the beans for all your weird friends over to the side. You can toast some bread on it. You can melt some cheese on stuff. Whatever you want to do, you have all this extra space to do while you're still using your basting pan. So it's not like you're just firing up a bunch of charcoal just to cook that thing like you could on the stove, which you could do this on the stove, but you're going to miss all that awesome smoke that's really nice in the pan. All right, so we're getting ready to wrap this chili up right now. It's been on there about 25 minutes. We just tasted it. Come on over, I'll give you a look here. See those nice boiling bubbles? It's getting all that flavor. All those little red pockies. You just kind of want to keep getting them mixed up. That's going to get all your onions completely cooked all the way through. It's going to get all that flavor into the meat. I did do a little taste test because I couldn't help myself, and it's perfect. It doesn't need an extra thing of that chili, that chipotle sauce. Now, if you really like it spicy, you definitely could add it. You can also throw some hot sauce or something in at the end. But I'm going to wrap this thing up right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Remember, this thing's gonna be hot as hell, so you gotta get a good pair of welding gloves. The Hasty Bake welding gloves work great. But reach in there, you can always use the end of a spatula to kind of get the handles up. But the beautiful thing about the basting pan is, go ahead and throw a pot holder down on the counter, bring this thing in with those welding gloves, set it up. You can serve right out of this basting pan if you wanted to. You don't have to keep scooping out. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna take it into the kitchen. Our staff's gonna eat like kings this afternoon, warm up a little bit from being so stinking cold. I'll get those beans in there if I have to, so people can throw that in there, but this is gonna be just about done. So you guys saw how quick that was. Real nice on a weeknight after work, throw it out there. Those Hammett packages work great. It's 1 package per 2 pounds of meat. So you're doing a real big batch, you can throw a couple more in there if you want, but 1 package for 2 pounds works great. Or we sell, I think it's like a 5-pound version or whatever, so it uses like 5 different servings, and that works real good too. You can use it for other stuff, but chili just, kicks butt. So it's nice and cold. It's good chili season now, so come on down. Tulsa Grill Store, headquarters of Hasty Bake here. We got just about everything we use today except for all the canned stuff, but hey, grocery store is about a quarter mile away. Come grab some stuff, have some chili for dinner tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.